We were doing a raffle for the fire department.
You are?
Yeah.
What are you raffling?
Well, we're gonna have first prize, a choice of 200 gallons of
Water?
oil, or 200 gallons of propane, or 2 ton of wood pellets, for first prize. Second prize depends on what the first one takes, and then the third one is the chainsaw.
I gave Colin a
Transfer
very
station.
generous donation.
Yes, I know.
Year, so
Or-
I'll
Here, I'll check out all
And
this.
last year,
The tanker or?
Well, that would be nice, but I doubt we're gonna raise that much money.
So we should probably have to write us a new one that says.
Okay, well, you're up at the transfer station, I'm sorry on it.
If it wasn't 9/11 today, I probably wouldn't buy one. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep.
That's why we're supposed to do.
I was working on
Oh, no, don't worry about it.
rough day.
It's over here.
So,
And there was something in this
section 2.2.
thinking,
Ron, take,
I've been thinking,
I got one.
I never think to do, but
You found one.
sometimes when I go through the meeting, they'll say, you know, like, you won't volunteer to take care of, follow up on something, or I will.
We can call the number that we can call you when you win, or you can, hopefully we will sell enough raffle tickets to,
You know, say,
before our,
right towards the end of the meeting,
party
what
on
do we have for
next month, that we
sort
can
of
draw it
homework
then.
assignments, you know?
Yeah.
Just to remind, because sometimes I don't
Yeah.
get involved in stuff and I don't write it.
Okay, so
Should
section
I leave my pen down here? Yep, you bet. Yes, I did.
Oh, so here's another.
Don't get on
Do you
sugar.
mind if I take this
Good.
page numbers are all in the wrong place now?
There you go.
Oh,
Because of the changes.
Yep.
That
Oh,
says
fix it up.
page 5, and then the,
Oh, yeah?
that link was index.
Hi.
They are good.
so now you gotta go
Yeah.
fix it up.
Yeah, but I'm just making sure that we got all the
Yeah,
ones.
we got it.
On Manor Road through there for you tonight. Remember last meeting, there was some.
The ice.
Concrete, like, kept the road. So yesterday I came down there and there was a whole bunch of DOT. They're kind of looking at that area. And when you came down this now, you had
Okay, great.
right down look back at the mirror. All fresh rock up there. Where
They did that today.
grass and trees.
I gotta take over.
Fresh rocks. And work off the wall on vehicles too. I just wondered if you knew any more about it.
No, I mean, I talked with Logan Aaron about it, district project manager a while ago, and they said they were going to excavate the slope and put in stone fill to stabilize the slope.
But how did they stabilize? Yeah. With frost and.
We got some in the truck, but that doesn't last
I just
forever.
wondered if you knew any more about it, like you.
Well,
You were DOT for a while.
we used to do that a lot,
Could we do it to
but
buy a raffle ticket?
maybe not so
Fire
much.
department is doing a raffle.
I don't remember,
I will, but not today.
I don't remember ever doing it on a situation quite
Well,
like that, where
we're
we had
trying to get
traffic
a
underneath.
200 tickets
You know,
sold.
lots of times we do it, but like on a riverbank or like a cut slope.
Like on the field, they used to have like chicken wire, only much heavier. Now, of course, they just keep taking that hillside off. And that,
Maybe Dwayne has
face.
25, he wants
That's why
to
the interstate.
buy a raffle
Some
ticket.
of the time down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something you need to keep an eye on, because if those rocks start working their way
I'll get it.
down.
You need to be up at the
Just like
transfer
concrete
station
wall.
Saturday morning.
Yes.
Don't think so, but I would guarantee that, because the water should easily drain down through them, so
Yeah.
I guess you could get frost underneath and pop them out. Yeah, it's something to keep track of this
I
winter.
just wanted to do notice for you there.
Oh, yeah, we got a notice that it was gonna be done today.
Well, the town got notice.
The town got a notice that it was gonna be done today, it was put on the Facebook page. But I haven't gone up to look at it close, but I saw it. I knew they were doing it today, so I've been by there a few times and looked up at it, but I didn't stay.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, they really should have swept that off. I'm guessing they might have got some of that down when they were replacing stuff. Hopefully.
That's hard to keep.
Hey,
How are you? And Sue. Good. How's everything on your hill?
Still there.
And dry?
yeah, back table.
Mrs. Wells. Good to see you again.
Zach Welch?
Yeah.
Still working.
Hey, Will. Absolutely.
Oh, this is the festival. Approved last time. Yeah. And it's just fire department? Yeah.
I can slow down.
So we're gonna have to re-sign that once you get me that.
Yes, and what I'm gonna do is probably water meeting, so I'm gonna do the agenda for next meeting. Say, sign.
I was out there with the police.
Yeah.
You don't have any young friends.
Where she had it. Well,
Is this trouble or good news?
I didn't know my job. Right.
And so the roads are coming apart, the roads are getting rough.
I gotta stop.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. It's 6:01. Okay. Call the meeting to order.
Thank you.
Okay, first up is modifications to the agenda. Sue might not be happy with me, but we are gonna move the citizens' concerns up to right after the approval of meeting minutes. We've got two of the board members, well, Will is participating by phone until he gets here. He's on his way from work. And Wade is also on his way from work and he'll be here late too. So I thought the citizens' concern section might be good to take earlier before we have to get into to some of the business items. Okay, first, any other modifications? If not, approval of meeting minutes first up is August 11th.
I have to confess that I haven't read either of these meeting minutes. Sorry about that. Normally, I review them when Hannah writes them, and I didn't go onto the town website and pull them down and read them, so I don't even know what they say, so.
Okay.
I apologize in advance, but
Are you?
wait, that there? Hi.
Hey, Wade.
I'm just unable to, if you guys have all read them and are comfortable, then you can vote, but I can't because I haven't read them. And I apologize for that. I'm normally in the loop. You wanna move
Table
on?
them or?
Well, moving
Well,
forward.
I know you wrote them. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to read them.
No, that's fine. As a point of order, because I wrote the 8:28 minutes, do I have to abstain from approving them?
No, I never have when I would write them.
I didn't think so, just wanted to confirm.
Okay,
Well, as a point of order, I'm not sure how Will could approve them if he wasn't here for them.
He wrote them.
Oh, he did?
he,
That's
what
pretty
he's
good.
saying. He
Yeah.
asked if he had to abstain because he wrote them.
No.
okay. So do we want to move ahead with doing them or?
Or do you want to push it back? I would promise to read them after this meeting.
I was just wondering, Sue, do you have any way to read them during the meeting, during our
Oh,
downtime?
I do, but that would be rude to not pay attention to the rest of the stuff.
I don't
Yeah.
know if it's gonna be that
Yeah,
titillating.
that's okay. I just didn't feel comfortable approving them when I honestly hadn't read them.
Okay, well then I'm fine to push them on if that's what the board wants.
It's fine to me. Okay, will you wait?
Yep.
Will?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right, so, so next up is, citizens' concerns. Before we get into the citizens' concerns, we have said several times that, in order to try to get, to make it a little more efficient to get through the citizens' concerns and to not turn things into a debate and a lot, going back and forth on people offering opinions, differing opinions to subjects. We've talked about following the rules for public participation in select board meetings that we passed last year. And we're gonna try it tonight. I'm not sure how well it's gonna work, but, so we would like to limit each person to speak for 2 minutes. We have tried it once, but we didn't hold to it very well. Sue is gonna try to, she's gonna run the timer. And one of the other things is, and this isn't as big a crowd as I sort of expected tonight, but one of the other things is you can speak a second time, but please don't do it and just repeat what you said the first time because somebody has said something contrary to what as I was saying, the debate, so, but if you think of another point to make on the same subject, it's fine to speak again. But everybody should have had a chance who wants to speak on a subject to speak before you take a second turn. Okay, and I'll try to give you some warning, like when you got 15 seconds left. So we don't just have the alarm go off and say, well, you're all done. Maybe give you a chance to, and if you need just a few seconds, we're not gonna cut you off in mid sentence, but we're just gonna try it, see how it works. Okay? What's first citizen's concern? And also state your name and.
Suki Watson, and I have a statement here that Kathy Hodgkin, one of my neighbors, asked me to read. So I'm simply going to read her statement. And I'll stand up because I have a little voice. I and many citizens of Waterford would like to have this select board do something to finally put a road foreman in place that has personnel leadership and supervisory skills in addition to the technical skills required. We have lost 5 employees since Mr. Hayes became the road foreman in June of 2022. Most of the employees have lasted 6 months or less under his supervision. The last one made it just over 3 months. At one point, it took us months to replace an employee despite our excellent benefit package. Waterford has become the laughing stock of surrounding towns due to the constant turnover in this department. Mr. Hayes has harassed employees at select board meetings. For example, the January 13th meeting where he stated that the 2 current employees at the time did not even know how to change the oil. Such concern should have been done in executive session. Not to do otherwise is a violation of the personnel policy regarding harassment. This is the kind of behavior that should result in termination. This was not an isolated incident. It happened again at the April meeting where he stated he would not be able to work with Mr. Gray. Mr. Hayes works for the select board and he should have zero input into the choice of road commissioner. In the special board meeting held February 19th, it was decided that Mr. Hayes should take supervisory training and the department was to take communication training. Back to my knowledge, this has never occurred. There have been countless times when those who live on Old County Road South have had to undertake emergency road repairs and maintenance on a road due to washouts, snow removal, etc. I can list the details and dates in a formal document if necessary. It's ridiculous that our roads are in the worst shape they have been in the 29 years I have lived here. We used to hold the distinction of having the best roads in the area. Now we are known for the worst roads in the area. You can ask many of the residents of Waterford and they will tell you the same thing. This is likely due to the constant turnover in the department and the inability or unwillingness of the road foreman to train his employees. I brought the issue up of the lack of maintenance up repeatedly. Each time there is some excuse. No help just got, is that the 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Are you pretty close?
No, it goes on and on and on. So I can, I don't know if you just want.
Suki, I wonder if you have a copy there you could leave with the,
Yeah, she
select
gave me
board?
2 copies, so I'm happy to leave this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we
that's
will
fine.
surely peruse it, and I presume
Yeah.
it becomes a part of the official record.
Right, so here you go.
Thank you for
Thank
bringing
you.
that forward.
You're welcome. Just doing my neighborly duty.
Appreciate it
I'm
too.
trying to make it fast, because I know it was long.
The timing works.
Okay. David,
In connection with
David Morrison.
Dave Morrison, Kathy's complaint, I would think that would be, now that we have road commissioners, you and Will, that this would be directed more at those 2 individuals rather than the whole board. I'm curious about something, I missed a meeting that you called, at the last minute. Where in the world did you put 1,800 gallons of water for Keith Powers?
Excuse me, why did we?
This thing about Keith Powers needing some emergency water, where did you put it?
He had a tank.
I don't know if there
1,800
was,
gallons is a lot.
I don't know,
I can answer that.
Yeah.
They called, because the little stream down from the barn went completely dry. And the cows were pastured and they'd get their water from there. So they called the fire department and asked if we could bring them a tank full of water. And I think one of the select board approved that, and we took them up a tank full of water. They have a tank inside their barn. We filled that. They had, some plastic barrels. We filled those, and so the cows would have some water.
Okay.
And we gave them a list of people that do supply trucking water, so.
as far as I know, we haven't heard anything. We haven't had another request.
Yeah, I was just curious about 1,800 gallons is a lot of water at one time.
Yep,
Wait, you put it, thank you, Howie.
you're welcome.
Okay,
Question?
Yeah.
Howard, it hasn't rained much lately, and I don't know what the longer term forecast is, but how acute, in your opinion, is this getting? Are you hearing about needs elsewhere for agricultural water?
We've only got really 2 farmers in town, so, about 3 or 4 years ago, we had a drought and we took quite a few loads up to the Wilson farm. And they got a hold of somebody finally to bring them water, and they purchased a small tank, I think it was like 200 or 300 gallons, that they were able to truck from their neighbor's well to help with their watering their cattle. But it is quite dry, and we're monitoring places around, so we know where we can get water.
Yeah, it is getting dry because we had 2 well drillers in the neighborhood, today, drilling in their neighbors' properties, and, one of them was there earlier in the week, fracking a previously drilled well. Clem?
I'm great. In response to Kathy's letter, I travel back roads all of the time, delivering sawdust to people, and them back roads aren't any better than Waterford's. Not a bit better. They are terrible, everywhere. Barnet, Peacham, Lindenville, West Barnet, they're all the same everywhere.
Okay.
Put another way, all the roads are equally good then, including Waterford's?
I'm not saying they're good, they're equal.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
Jerry Williams, Lawrence Road. I've new up here 8 years, just retired. And, I think the road foreman does a well job when he, like Clem says, I go to Peach and Barnett all the time. This is a tough summer. I never thought I'd pray for rain after having my driveway washed out 2 years to the day on, July 10th. $5,000 a crushed stone later, from Darcy Nelson, but I think I love the work he does.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, one more thing.
Yep.
With this truck, like, guys ever go down 135, you go through Monroe, you see the smoking the beer thing. Maybe we, at the, fire department, we should have a sign,
Fire
fire
danger.
levels, elevated, moderate, I'm sure somebody could make a nice plywood, but we should have one of the meters, So I go down Duck Pond pretty much every day.
Okay.
Thanks, folks, sorry.
Yep. No, thanks.
I got something different for you.
Okay.
So I've been riding around on the
Sean
road.
Hallisey.
Sean Hallisey, 450 Woodland Road. I ride around and I'm noticing that there's a lot of trees broken and overhanging the roads. I'm wondering if there's liability to the town for that, or is it the property owner's responsibility? Some of them are so much over the road that if they came down and someone was going through, it would hit their car.
Well,
Sean, if I may ask you, can you give like specific examples, like where in town there's like a particular widowmaker that stands out to you?
At the bottom of Remick Road and Duck Pond Road, there's a broken spruce tree and the top of it's hanging right over the road and flimsily connected to the trunk.
Remick Road and what?
Remick Road and Duck Pond Road down at the
Okay.
bottom. And then if you just keep going up from there, you can see several more.
I don't know if you want a response or not. According to the quick AI summary, the town of Vermont towns can have legal liability for trees hanging over roadways, especially if the tree is a shade tree or a tree within the public right-of-way that poses a hazard or obstructs views. Municipalities are responsible for managing trees in public ways under state law, with the tree warden having control over shade trees, those planted by the municipality, and the select board having authority over other trees within the right-of-way. So that's the beginning of that conversation.
Ron, Tim just mentioned the word tree warden. Don't we have a tree warden? I don't think we have fence viewers and Ware the Cole anymore, but I think we do still have a tree warden in our
We do.
appointed list. Dave Hipkins used to do that, but I don't know if he's able
Isn't
anymore.
it Mark Harpin or somebody now? That's the tree warden.
I don't know who it is.
I don't know where our list is.
It's downstairs. But would that be, it's kind of an old time position, would that be something that would come under, David, if that would come under the tree wardens?
Well, I would think if they're close enough so they're gonna fall in the road, they likely are rooted in the town right away. Not always, but you can have a tall tree coming from far back, but I just don't know who the tree warden is now, but I was thinking we still had one.
We do have one. The state requires us, each town to have one.
Okay.
It's an actual state requirement. And we have one, but it's not a paid position. So what the tree warden would do is go out and say, yes, take this down, and it would be the road crew that would then take it down, or we would hire a contractor to take it down, because the tree warden himself is not paid by the town. It's not a paid position.
I found on the website, it says Matthew Lewis.
Oh, Matthew Lewis, that's right. That is correct.
And then I just wanted to add briefly that Mr. Hayes might be a bull in a china shop. but I believe that he cares about the roads in the town and tries to take the best care of stuff that he can.
Okay. All right.
Matthew Ash, I also support Jimmy, he's doing a great job. I work for Green Mountain Power, and I travel all over northeastern Vermont on the water roads. And I would say Vermont, Waterford has probably some of the best roads of any town in this area. And I've lived in this town majority of my life, and I think Waterford roads have been taken care of greatly. And whoever's been in that position has done a good job over all the years that I've lived in this town. So I have no issues with how he's handling things.
Okay. Thank
Can
you.
I get your name one more time? Sorry, I missed it.
Matthew Ash,
Thank you.
and I also have to say, the credibility of the letter, the person that wrote that letter should be here presenting it. To me, the credibility of that letter is nothing. Yes.
She would have been here on Monday to read her own letter, but because the select board meeting got changed to Thursday, she was unable to make it, so she asked me to come in her place, so I did.
Thanks. Okay.
Has anybody written down, Concord Avenue from the radio station on down through, how rough that is?
Yeah.
And that's a paved road.
No, I've ridden on it. Ridden on Barnett's Roads a fair amount.
Hi, Christina Hayes.
Yep.
I'm Jim's wife.
Yep.
I would just like, which some people don't agree or whatnot, being so short on staff for so long, he can only do as much as he can do. And I just think everything going on with the criticisms and whatnot is actually a little bit more personally motivated. And I would hope that the board can see that for what it is, because he's really trying to do the best he can for the taxpayers of Waterford. And he's given a lot of time and energy towards that. And it has been hard with short of staff. I know other businesses are short on staff. Restaurants are closing early, they can't find help. I'm helping my daughter because she can't find help. I know different companies are looking for help. So I think that plays a part in it too. If you had, back in when he started, 4 men who could all run excavators, they could all do the grader work, they were all equally have the abilities to do stuff. And now everything's kind of falling on him. And I think it's a lot to expect for somebody to go from a 4-man crew to 2 to sometimes 3 and come back from this catastrophic flooding from last year. So I think that should be taken into consideration. And you can't please everybody. That's just the nature of the beast. But to do the best you can has to have some recognition. And we still don't understand really why Kathy Hodgson has such a personal problem with him. And if it has to do with her husband, that's.
Okay.
Can I just make one more comment?
Very well spoken.
Thank you.
Check for anybody. Does anybody, yeah, I already wasn't following the rules I mentioned at the beginning. Anybody else who hasn't spoken want to speak first? Okay,
I
Sean?
just want to say real quickly, I've been coming down here maybe 9 months to a year now, and it's been an issue since I've been coming down here. And when I first came up, I said to you folks, did you do exit interviews with the employees who left and find out why they left? I mean, that would be a good basis for you to make a judgment about whether Jimmy's a good boss or not. Maybe it's just the people.
We have done exit interviews. We didn't, I don't think you used to, but we have been
Good.
the last well, I can't say 4, 3 people. The fourth one was
Phone interview with you.
yeah, phone interview with me. He didn't want to come in, so that would have made 4 out of the. So we have taken that step.
I won't ask you what the results were, but I hope that you take it under consideration when you make your decision.
Yep, we will. Thanks, so.
Welcome.
Anybody else have a citizens?
I have spoken to Steve Morrison, I have spoken before, but seeing we're all singing Jimmy's praises. What a lot of people don't know that he's not some alien. He's one of us. If you look out the window behind Kathy, behind Mrs. Hayes, you'll see where Jimmy, some of his growing up years was. And his mother was an auditor here years ago. He's one of us. He's not some alien. He takes more abuse and takes it graciously than, well, certainly than our previous foreman, but he's a good man. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. So we'll move on to.
And I'd just like to thank everyone. That was so orderly and
Yep.
so well done. Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
And Will, you're still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I just got you on mute. Oh, you're not here. The red nose.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Next up is Doyon Drive. I think the way we left it was, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Will, but you were checking into what the town's liability might be, I believe.
Yes, so here's where I am with that. I reached out to VLCT and they essentially said, no, this is far too specific legal guidance. You need to reach out to your town's attorney. So I wanted to confer with you guys before I spoke to them, just the town attorney, that is, just because obviously once we get them on the phone, the meter starts running. So I wanted to make sure we were cinched up tight about what exactly it is we're pursuing here. From my understanding, we're looking at the liability of the town for digging the cut across and onto Mr. Doyon's property. Excuse me. For digging the cut onto Mr. Doyon's property, but then the rain of 2024 being a separate event, that then the ditch cut contributed to the washout of his driveway. So it was just tailoring the language there, and I can handle that. I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware that once I talk to the town's attorney, we're going to get a bill, and I have no expertise here. This is kind of uncharted territory for me. I don't know how much this is going to cost. Tim, I don't know if you can provide some insight there, but that's essentially where we are. To cut a long story short, I don't have an update of any substance. I told Tim of this. I'm not sure if he's in the audience there tonight.
I'm here.
I essentially told him.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Tim Doyon.
No, Mr. Doyon isn't here.
Yeah, because I told him essentially that I don't have anything of a substantial update for him right now. But I just wanted to make you guys aware that I will be reaching out to the town attorney because the VLCT hasn't provided much in terms of guidance.
I think it's necessary. Does everyone else feel the same?
I think you should make it an action item of a motion.
Yeah, okay. I make a motion that we talk to the town attorney about the Mr. Doyon property, the town's liability in regards to Mr. Doyon's property.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
My feeling about that is that Mr. Doyon is far too many years late to bring any sort of claim forward. If he wanted to bring a claim forward, he should have done it within the statute of limitations.
But the town attorney can tell us that, correct?
I don't know that we need to pay money for that.
Do you know what the statute of limitations is?
6 years maximum, probably 3, since he had specific knowledge of the events, the actions of the town.
Before you spend money, wouldn't you want him to file a suit against you first?
He's always free to do that. I mean, it's not very, what's the word
Neighborly.
here? Neighborly of the board to require that, but anybody's free to sue anybody, technically. I think he's, my opinion, as one board member, he's way out of time.
I think I'd feel more comfortable if the attorney verified that.
I agree.
Let's vote on the motion.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to authorize Will to contact the town's attorney to get an opinion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Okay, it passed 3-2. Okay, so you've been authorized, Will?
Who were the two dissenters? You and Tim?
Yeah.
Okay, 3-2.
Next up is the purchasing policy. I didn't send you any, did you?
I have it.
Yep.
Pass that away. That's additional language for department fundraising.
Oh, good, we needed that.
Well, it's a rough cut, but it's a place to start. You last time wanted to insert language, figures in the parts of the dollar amounts in the policy.
And you checked with Heather that she can actually do this?
I have not.
Oh, I wouldn't feel comfortable without asking.
Well, I don't think we're
Heather.
passing this tonight. I thought we want to put numbers in and then run it past treasurer and other language and come back for a final decision.
Oh, okay,
No, it's a pretty important document. I think we want to get it right.
it is. You definitely have to run that by Heather.
Yep.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, I spoke with Heather about it a little bit, just to kind of get her input in general terms, but, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't share what she said because I don't want to misquote her, but, I'm not quoting her. This is what I took from what she said, is that, she said, because when I was looking at it, and there's also areas to put people's names in as purchasing agents.
Mhm.
I think she said the only purchasing agents are Deb, Jim,
And
Colin, and she also mentioned Clint.
wow,
Um,
that makes sense.
I think,
What's the official department name?
He's the.
transfer station supervisor.
I agree.
But one thing she said, if I understood her correctly, was she felt if an item in, a line item in the budget was a line item in the approved budget, that board approval shouldn't be needed, even if it was over the figure we currently use.
If we'd already approved it in the budget, I feel like that is select board approval, if we already approved a line item in the budget. Correct? I mean, we approved the budget, therefore we approved each line item.
Yeah, I guess, and obviously the voters have approved it if they pass the budget at town meeting.
Mhm.
But if we go, and maybe we did the wrong thing last year, I don't know, but going back to last year when we had the crushing contract and we put it out for bid and we came in over the budgeted amount.
Mhm.
But according to the current purchasing policy, I felt that we needed to go out to bids.
And I think that if we get through and fill in these blanks, you're gonna see that over certain dollar amounts, you still need to go over, because even if we budget a certain amount, that doesn't mean that we picked one person to do that work and that they get to do it without competing.
Okay,
So if you follow, I'm sorry, I forgot you, Clem, but I do agree that Clem is a purchasing agent. I had town clerk, road crew foreman, fire chief, and now I'm adding Clem. So instead of putting names there, right, so that this is a document that can go for several years, it
Yeah,
should say
just
the
their
transfer
titles.
station.
Yeah.
Supervisor.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
And
So to be clear, the treasurer doesn't have any allocation authority? She just write the check.
she writes the checks.
Okay.
that's what she told me. And,
But I still think the dollar amounts, when we get to the procurement categories, the dollar amounts that are the blanks in this policy, that's where we have to agree. Like, I know what my numbers and my level of comfort is, but you guys all have to agree.
Well, let me interrupt for a second. I've got 2 extra copies. Does anybody in the audience want to see what we're
Talking
discussing
about?
here?
We're talking
If
about
you
the
want them, they're right
procurement
there.
policy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is this like the 100 grand that's going to
just
the
hung up on me.
This
garage?
is just the procurement policy. It's the overall umbrella.
Wouldn't you wanna make it a requirement that they have to get 2 or 3 bids? Even if you've given them a budgeted amount, wouldn't you want there to be a requirement that they get 2 or 3 bids before they
For the
just spend
larger
the money?
dollar items, yes.
yeah, so,
We're on procurement policy.
That's what we need to debate.
Yeah.
The size of the purchase.
yeah, because,
Because that crushing contract is a big dollar contract, and even if it was a line item, that doesn't mean willy-nilly you just give it to one guy.
right,
You still have to compete, I
Yeah.
think.
I mean, like Jim, he's got the price, and the price was good,
Language here that.
you know, to use as a budget figure. He thought it was a reasonable figure.
Yeah.
It was a reasonable figure, but according to the purchasing policy, we needed to go out to bids.
Right.
And
But
if it
that was
goes,
also agreed on by the, see, that's where you guys were talking, is contradiction. Because it was approved in the budget for that amount.
Right, but no, we didn't say who could get that
Right.
dollar
It
amount.
was approved knowing the budget, and
Right.
then when it went out to bid, it ended up costing the town $12,500 more.
Right, but you got that number from one guy who said he would do the job.
Right.
When our purchasing policy that's still in effect, that was put in place July 12th of 2021.
Right.
That said that if it was over 25,000, it had to go to bid.
and you could do it, you could do it ahead of time,
If
But
you bid it,
but you'd have to get bids like you're probably gonna have to crush again next year.
you could get bids for the budget process and we could build that into the budget. But then usually prices are only good for 60, 90 days. Usually that's not how it works. So usually you get an estimate and it's a placeholder in the budget. And then you compete it when it's over a certain dollar amount.
Well, yeah, that's what I think we should do. And the same thing came up with the paving work, on Daniel's Farm Road. And I talked with one of the contractors when in the process, and, you know, he had given a price the previous year, and he said, but we're always asked for prices like that. And as far as his company, Pike, he said, we bid it kind of high because we don't want to bid it at, say, 200,000, say it'll cost you 200,000, and then go out to bids the next year and bid 220,000. We try to bid it a little bit high. Of course, you never know what asphalt and fuel prices are gonna do. And also he knows how the process works through the state, because that was a grant. And he said, if they'd accepted at a low price, and I come in with a higher price, then you've got to go back to the state looking to amend your grant. So he said, I put it in high. You know, so I think they ought to be bid over a certain amount, but.
Well, if we fill in the blanks, we'll have to determine that.
Yep. Okay.
So the first blanks on this policy were who are the first purchasing agents? Are we all pretty much in agreement that it's the 4 individuals that we cited?
Town clerk, fire department, roads foreman, transfer station.
Yes. Those are people who buy things.
Okay, so
Then you come down to the bottom of page 3, and that's where you have to fill in the dollar amounts. So there's incidental purchases. Employees designated as procurement agents may make purchases of up to blank without prior approval, provided those purchases remain within the scope and limits of the approved municipal budget. And that's the number, the first number that we've got to get. Now, that's the smallest one. Then you have minor purchases, then you have major purchases. So it goes from dollar value, it goes up as we go down.
Just as a FYI and disclosure, I have no sense whatsoever of how the numbers ought to look here. I can discuss it and
So we
make it
looked
make
at
sense, but,
they're in the last purchasing policy that was
well,
put
there's
together
that.
in 2021.
Yeah,
there's not as many.
There's not as many categories,
Categories.
but the incidental purchases was $5,000. That the procurement agents, without our permission, as long as it's within their budget, spend the $5,000 in incidental purchases, things that aren't really planned, but they're needed and they've got to go out and get them.
knowing that the incidental limit is 5K, does that make sense?
Well, that's what I'm asking you. That's what's in the current policy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm asking too, since I don't have much of a sense of how this
It's
budget
pretty
works.
standard with most towns.
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
That's what Danville's was when you sent the Danville one as a.
That's a good point, yeah.
And it's what's in the current policy. So I started with the current policy.
I'm not hearing any objections to the 5,000 number.
I have none.
Okay, so why don't we go with that?
And then minor purchases, employees who have been designated to act as procurement agents, those same 4 people, may make purchases with a value between, your first amount is the 5,000, because you have to cover from that amount up. So 5,000 to a certain number, only with prior approval of the select board, and are limited to the amount of the budget authorized by the municipality. Although not required, competitive quotes from at least 2 vendors should be obtained whenever possible and documented, although not required, it says. I put the 25,000 number that was also in the previous policy there. So I'm saying that minor purchases are 5,000 to 25,000.
And just parsing through the language here, this essentially means that the procurement agent can, has the authority to do that bid process themselves. It doesn't have to be run by us.
After getting prior approval from us, then they are out on their own and can do it.
Okay.
Yes. It's not a select board bid opening. It's select board, may I? Yes, they go do it.
Well, I'd be curious to, Jim, hear your thoughts on that 25,000 number, since you're probably gonna be the person making purchases on behalf of the town most frequently.
Can you get most of what you need for that 25 grand, 5 to 25 grand?
But anything above that, it's gonna be big time,
Yeah.
so. But had a truck break down last week. Check engine light came on, fuel rails were leaking, diesel fuel all over the motor. Took it in, you gotta fix it, check engine light's on, we can't fix it. You're looking at $4,000, $5,000, that's just the way it is.
And that's an incidental up to the 5,000. Does that number work for you, the 5,000 number?
It's gonna be close.
That doesn't need our
I
approval at
just
all.
have, the question that I have is, you guys came up with this purchasing policy in 2021.
Yeah.
Now, what is prompted to have to change it now?
It didn't have enough stuff in there that we were running into, and the thing that Tim handed us right before we started talking about this, we didn't have a way for the fire department to run fundraisers.
Well, any department.
Any department, not that I don't think that the road department has
Right,
ever
but
done
it
a
has to
fundraiser,
encompass them as well.
but it could.
Yeah.
But specifically, we didn't have a mechanism for the fire department to get donations and then buy what they want with that money. We didn't, that money goes to the town. When they collect money, it goes to the town. So we were hoping to find a mechanism to let them get their own money. But 5 to 25, does that sound okay with everybody?
I have no reason to object.
Why wouldn't
It
the
is.
bids be required?
What's that?
Why wouldn't the bids be required? It says maybe.
So the bidding process would be left up to the procurement agent within that dollar range. So the procurement agent would come to the select board and say, hey, I gotta buy this thing, it costs in this range of money. We'd say, okay, we give you approval to conduct essentially the bidding process on your own. I believe the language here says, quotes from at least 2 vendors.
Should be.
Should be obtained whenever possible. There's
And
exceptions
documented.
later in the policy for like emergencies and what's so.
Yeah.
But essentially, the bids would still be obtained. They would just be obtained by the procurement agent as opposed to the select board in an open meeting soliciting in the newspaper, et cetera.
Jim had a repair that he needed to make on a piece of equipment, and he could go to John Deere or whoever, or he could go to the special guy that fixed it,
But when you can,
all you had to do was say, I'm gonna need like 20,000 for this repair, the select board says okay, and then you go out and find who does the work.
that's what we did with the loader.
Yes, the
Same
loader,
thing.
yes.
But, I mean, keep in mind, in the middle of winter, when we have a breakdown, and they're most generally expensive. Like I said before, we don't have 2 weeks to have a board
Right,
get together in order to decide what they're gonna do. Somebody's gonna have to be designated, so you can call, say, I need this is what it's gonna cost, and they need to be able to approve it.
you know what I just thought? We could have, the 2 road commissioners could make a decision for an emergency repair, right? Could we maybe add something like that for the road department where we wouldn't have to have the entire select board approve something? It could be the 2 road commissioners. I don't know, just a thought. But what he said is true. He's not gonna wait 2 weeks for us to have a meeting.
Well, now the emergency purchases clause in
That's
this
summer,
draft,
right?
sorry, I'm reading over your shoulder there, Tim. The council,
The
so not the
select board.
purchasing
No, the
agent.
select board may
contracts,
award
purchases.
contracts, right.
Maybe perhaps the way around this is to change this to the purchasing agent may award contracts, make purchases for the purpose of meeting public emergency without complying with the bid process. Cause that would cover the incidental.
Or that could have the $25,000 limit on it though.
Yeah, so so basically based on the price range, the appropriate
Right.
agent.
So
Can do
maybe
that.
emergency purchases could be in 2 phases. It could say that, that road crew purchases between $5,000 and $25,000 in the event of emergency can be approved by the road crew foreman, or like something that specifically lets him do it in an emergency.
Well, I have 2 questions. Does 25K cover just about every type of emergency that you normally deal with? Well, nothing normal about emergencies, but
No, it should.
Yeah.
I mean, the most expensive one we had recently was 15,000 something. So,
well, my additional thought is simply that I trust you know your business pretty well when it comes to taking care of emergencies, but I wonder if coordination with one or both road commissioners makes some level of sense as well.
I don't know what.
I feel like, if not to interrupt Jim, but I feel like coordination, yes, but requiring the rubber stamp just adds a layer that we don't necessarily need in an emergency
I
situation.
think that we're getting caught up in all this paperwork stuff, and it's gonna end up, I'm gonna spend more time dealing with corresponding than I am gonna be dealing with the actual problem. In that case of the 15,000, check engine light comes on my truck, okay? We don't have diagnostic equipment to find out what the problem is. So we take it over to
ADT, or ADT, whatever it is, it used to be McDevitt's. Take it over there, the turbo's gone, that's just a wear and tear item, $15,000 for the parts and the labor. So there's not a whole lot to have a discussion about on that. I shop around, I get the best prices possible, for stuff that we're gonna fix, the stuff that we fix in-house. And the rest of it, if it can be done after market, so to speak, with a local garage, we shop prices and see. That's exactly what I did with loader. I got a price from John Deere, I got a price from, 2 independent contractors, and we went with the best option. So I do that when I get.
The board has some.
But, as far as to include them, they don't have a clue what a turbo and all that stuff is, so I think it's kind of pointless to, unless they come to the garage and then I can point out what the problem is, and then they go, oh, yeah, okay. You know, it's just
I see what you're saying.
needless time spent. You know, I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
I understand the way the stuff works.
Can I interject here, Jim? I understand what you're saying, and I agree that there's value in acting fast. I'm coming from the perspective of the board has a fiduciary duty to the taxpayers to be responsible for the funds that get spent. We don't want to get in your way, but we also have a duty here.
Right? Yeah, so I don't understand what you're asking. So with your duty, what you say is your duty to the taxpayers, how in some way is that gonna make anything different by me including them in on it?
We're talking about a point of contact here with the road commissioner, and I don't know if that's the right solution. I'm just making sure that we have appropriate knowledge.
Yeah, well, there was a time when anything that's going on, I come to the board and I give them reviews and give them updates and stuff. You know, but now we've changed this around so that technically I'm not even supposed to be speaking because I'm not invited to this meeting, in that capacity. So, I am speaking though, but there was a time when I used to give updates, when I had that $15,000 breakdown, I would include the board, tell the board, be informative. But that seems to dwindle away because they don't need my input anymore.
It's not that we don't need your input, but you're supposed to be, you and Will are supposed to be talking, so you can explain it to Will. Will brings it to the board.
You know, there are some things that you can explain and then there are other things that you can't. You know, and one's perception is different than another's. I deal with this stuff all day long, you people don't. So your perspective on certain things are gonna be different than mine. So that's where the expertise comes into play. That's my expertise. It's not so much yours. But have it your way. That's what you're doing anyway.
Hold on.
It's nothing to me.
I think they recognize your expertise, and I think you're missing their point. They're the keepers of the bank.
Right?
So they need to know what money's being spent, where it's being spent, so that they can make sure our money is being spent appropriately.
Right.
And yeah, we hire you, we trust you, but you still gotta keep in touch with these folks.
And I do that by turning in my slips. Every time you guys approve the slips. I just don't
It's been
understand.
spent then.
I don't understand what more you're asking of me. Because I follow proper protocol as far as you okay expenditures. I do the expenditures, I turn the slips into them, you guys approve them. So you have knowledge of what money's being spent, it's all accounted for. So I just don't understand what else needs to take place here.
At that point, the money has already been, well, the bill hasn't been paid, but we've essentially committed to paying the bill because you've authorized the work.
And so does it come down to untrustworthy or what does this come down to? Because like I said, I look out for the best interest of the town in any money that I spend on any money that I spend, it's necessary. It's not wasted money. It's, slack adjuster broke the other day. There's a repair. Check engine light's on. That's a major repair. Gotta have it fixed. Everything that we're doing, we have to fix it. So I shop, get the best price that I can get, and I get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My point is still the same. We're looking for communication, timely communication, period.
Okay, so. from now on-
Collaborative, cooperative communication.
Right, so from now on, what I'll do, before I fix anything, the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'll shoot Will or Ron an email and just say, this is broke, I've gotta fix it, just so you know.
30 seconds, that sounds good.
Okay.
What do you want me to do?
But know that we just said incidental purchases like your repairs, up to $5,000, you're on your own as the purchase agent. You don't have to get select board approval.
I just think it's micromanaging.
How about this then? Emergency, under the emergency purchases clause, that's on page 4.
Right.
Where it says insert legislative body. How about we go the other direction with this? A designated purchasing agent, because right, our 4 agents, our 4 horsemen are the town clerk, the road foreman, the fire chief, and, I'm sorry, Clem, your title? Transfer station supervisor. So up to $25,000, $20,000
Without select board approval.
without select board approval?
I'm okay with that. Only under emergency purchases.
Yeah, only under emergency purchases.
Because we already said minor purchases, 5 to 25,000 would be with select board approval.
So this would basically enable minor purchases to be made in the same manner that incidental purchases are made.
If it's an emergency.
If it's an emergency.
I also have a question for the board. Pertaining to this purchasing policy. I would like to ask the board, or see if I could get a credit card, a town credit card. Because the way that it's set up now, the treasurer and the town clerk have access to a credit card. Any purchases that I don't make through local businesses or businesses, vendors that are right local. If I ordered a water pump. One broke on the back of the water truck. Have to go through the treasurer. She's gotta go talk to her, send her a picture, then she's gotta order it, then it comes into her, then I've gotta get it. It's very inconvenient, and it's a nuisance. And with my ability to purchase, credit from Sunel's, any place around as it is, that is no different than using a credit card. And what I think is it would be very beneficial, and it would fall under exactly what we're talking about, that there are a lot of things that I could purchase somewhat locally, like at Home Depot or Tractor Supply, you know? But she wants me to buy stuff through Amazon. So with that being the case, I could have that credit card, I could go locally, so to speak, with not one of our vendors, but I could purchase things and get the best price that would save us money. And we roll, we wouldn't have to wait. Today, I won't stop down, I wanted to get the town credit card because I needed to purchase something. And that wasn't there, Marcel was there, he didn't have access to the credit card.
My name is not on the credit card, therefore I cannot use that credit card.
Right, and that's what you told me. Did I say different?
Okay,
I simply said that Marcel, he doesn't have access to the credit card. So that being the case, now I've gotta wait until next week. Whereas I wanted the purchase today. So,
And we just said that incidental purchases up to 5,000 should be able to be made by the purchasing agent. So to me, that sounds like credit card worthy.
Yes.
I think Colin has a credit card, does he?
they have another, it's an account set up with a debit card,
A debit card.
and they have only so much money, so
Right,
that would not work with the highway department because they would be spending too much money. It'd just be another account for us to take care of, and we already have too many bank accounts to take care of.
But a credit card as opposed to a debit card, you're basically just paying the statement every 30 days.
But you're not gonna get a credit card with the town of Waterford name on it. That's what we had trouble with before, that's why Heather's name had to go on that credit card. Cause she's the treasurer.
and I had even suggested using my own credit card and then the town just keep the slip and the town reimburse me.
Okay. No, not really.
Well, it is, because it's an incidental purchase and how he makes it, and if it's more convenient to make it with a credit card, that should be in our policy.
Marcel, how come, just out of curiosity, how come he can't get one with the town of Waterford?
I don't know what the whole specifics were. I wasn't involved in that when it happened. All I know is, Heather's name's on it, and the last I knew, that's the only way we could get one, so.
I'm just interested, when I was a police chief, I had one with the town of Norwich on it.
Yep.
Okay. So.
And you were able to make the purchase, like an approved procurement.
But then when you put a credit card with the town of Waterford's name on it, then everybody can use it, and then it's a free-for-all, so.
Well, we're saying there are 4 procurement agents, town clerk, road crew
Then
foreman.
you've got 4 people to take care of, and you
Now,
got to
does
chase receipts.
Deb as the town clerk have a credit card?
No, she uses Heather's. And I will not use a credit card when my name is not on it.
Okay. Yeah, we can, I mean, we aren't gonna solve this tonight.
We're not.
No, but are we at least good with the numbers? 5,000 incidental, 5 to 25 minor, over 25 is major? Is everyone comfortable with that?
No, not necessarily.
No?
The 5 to 25, but if we're not approving the whole thing tonight, we can discuss it further.
Do you like to see it smaller or bigger?
Smaller.
How much smaller?
You want Heather's input on that?
Yes. And on the credit card.
I think we should also research other towns if we're gonna decrease it. 'cause
I've got
I
it
can
right
tell you-
here.
What's that?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the credit card. Go ahead,
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I'm talking about other towns, 25, because I've worked with several other towns, and 25 is pretty normal, 5 to 25.
And if it is,
And
that's
25
fine.
is our
It
current
just seems
policy.
like,
Well, it seems like we're keeping things a little too personal, even on this board. We need to look at the whole picture here.
Nothing's cheap anymore.
And nothing's cheap, those trucks are expensive.
Good question. Why don't you have do you have charge accounts set up at different vendors?
Yes,
Like,
yes,
and why don't you put, a limit on the value of what you can charge?
we do
Have
it, so
a PO system and.
we have, well, we don't have a PO system, so. But we have the,
They have a
charge
system.
card of Snell's, and we have, there's a card tied to that one, at Snell's, and when it hits the limit, then we're done. I have to get on, write a check, and bring it down to them.
They don't bill you send a bill every month.
They do, but if we have a month where we hit the limit, they'll shut us off. And
What
then I
is-
have to get out and pay it, so we can charge some more.
What is their limit?
I don't know, Will, right
That's
off the top of my
part
head.
of, to me, that's part of doing business, that's part of the job, it doesn't go down.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just telling you how it works.
Next, so you're not comfortable with the 25,000? Because that's what's in our current policy, and I was
that's in
fine
our
with it.
current
Mhm.
policy.
Mhm.
Okay, then fine. It just sounds like a lot.
It does sound like a lot, but
Goes fast.
like he had a $15,000 truck. So
Yep.
it-
And 25,000 is 10,000 more than that.
Yeah. The next one is recurring purchases, and what I thought about here is the current policy says if the total value of a recurring purchase of a good or service is anticipated to exceed, our current one says 3,000. Immediately, I thought of the calcium chloride and the sand. Those, when you total up what we buy over time in a year, way exceed the 3,000, so that's not
$5,400 a load.
a load. So that's where I thought the 3,000 was the only number in our current policy that I thought was an uncomfortable number, because just thinking of the calcium chloride and the sand, and there's probably other things that Jim buys routinely, tires,
Diesel.
things that add up.
Gallons of wax, but you
Yeah,
don't get 10,000, we usually get around 5,500.
right,
But that's another big purchase that we do.
right.
But are those ones where we get more than one price? Do you get more than one price?
They're only the big supplier that's the only one that we've ever dealt with on that.
On the fuel,
Yeah.
In the
They
chloride?
deliver by the tanker.
That's Fred's, but it's also D and C, two different outfits.
And the chloride?
Chloride, you get that, the best price. We were locked in because Lyle had purchased that 1,600 gallon tank from, well, can't think of the name right off the top of my head, but, so we were locked in. We're just finishing up on the lock-in on that because it was over a period of time. We had to buy so many gallons from Gorman Brothers. So we're getting out of that. But you're very limited as far as what the products that are out there as far as from the purchaser. We only have so many vendors on that.
Yeah, but there's more than one vendor, right?
Yeah, not many. So
Okay.
we can shop around on that.
Okay.
I just thought that number should be higher than 3,000. Maybe that's 10,000. I didn't know the number. I just know that the current number sounded too small when I thought about some of the things that he buys over and over again.
Mhm.
And then that brings us to the emergency purchases that we were talking about. And I was going to propose that purchasing agents in an emergency situation, and emergency is in the definitions of what an emergency is, so that that's clear. You could say that they could do the 5 to 25,000, which is the same as the minor purchase, without select board approval, but only in an emergency. Because the other 5 to 25,000 minor purchase was, they go off and do it their own after approval. Emergency, they don't have time to get select board approval. They just go get it.
Yep.
And I was comfortable with the same number of 5 to 25,000, however you guys feel.
Should we have that be a separate number, or should we tie that to whatever the number we ultimately settle on for minor purchases is? I feel like it should be tied to minor purchases.
I feel like it should as well, but what if he had a $30,000 repair? Then we're gonna have to just call a special board meeting, I think, and do what we normally do on an emergency basis.
Out of curiosity, Jim, could you imagine a scenario where a $30,000 emergency repair might happen?
No.
So 25,000 is gonna mostly cover
No,
everything you
if
got.
you're at $30,000, you've wrecked a truck or you've done something.
Okay, so 25,000 is a decent number.
Yes, it is, but I mean, it doesn't take much nowadays. And especially when your garage costs are $190 an hour, around that, 160, 190. Doesn't take very long to rack up a pretty good bill.
Okay, and then professional services, the difference between our current policy has a period after and insurance services and doesn't have a dollar amount. It just says the bid process may be waived for the selection of providers for services that are characterized by a high degree of professional judgment and discretion, including legal, financial, auditing, risk management, and insurance services. In our current policy, those do not have to be bid out. They don't even put a dollar amount in there at all. They just put a period there, boom, done. Nothing that says over a certain dollar amount, you've got to bid it. And I was comfortable leaving that the same, but that's just me personally.
I agree. I don't see a reason to limit that.
I don't think that's gonna be a $25,000 buy.
No.
I mean, I think that's gonna be, I think professional services are, I think the listers, when they pay for an audit, that's the biggest dollar amount, and it can be several $1,000s, but they also put that in the budget line item as well. I didn't feel uncomfortable leaving it the way it is now.
I agree.
Sue, just to play devil's advocate, if it is a no bid process, how do we know we're getting a good price for those professional services?
For professional services, wouldn't it be more so the focus on who it's from rather than the price? Right? Because you're looking for an expert, you're looking for someone who understands the issue at hand, whether that be a lawyer or an auditor, or in the case of, heaven forbid, we have to go to another round of litigation and appraisal with the dam in Sans Souci,
Mhm.
you know, in that case, you go to Sans Souci because that's the guy.
Right, well,
The price doesn't matter.
and also it says the bid process may be waived if the select board didn't feel comfortable not going through bid.
Yeah.
We still have the opportunity to bid.
Yes, if we really want to.
Like if the listers wanted to pick between 3 different people to help them with an audit, or not an audit, but an appraisal, they could still go through the bid process if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing preventing the bid process. It just says that for professional services, you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Again, playing devil's advocate, my family buys a lot of insurance. We have to, but there's a lot of different ways to get price for insurance. And I'm again wondering whether in a flexible and highly inflated insurance market these days, how we know we're getting a good value for our recurring services.
Well, we've always gone,
Professional services, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We've always gone with Blue Cross Blue Shield and nobody's ever shopped health insurance. I think this year we really ought to shop health insurance. Because Blue Cross Blue Shield is just gonna go through the roof again.
No. They're limited on 4.4%.
I say we save this for the insurance.
Yeah,
This
just
is-
under
this
the
gets
insurance.
subtracted.
I mean, we insure through VLCT for our vehicles and our buildings and stuff like that. If you want us to shop it, fine, we can shop it, but I doubt you're gonna do any better than VLCT.
Right, right. I'm comfortable with the bid process may be waived, and there may be times that the select board says, hey, I'd like to see this go out to bid.
Yeah.
The health insurance, I think, is one you guys really ought to take a hard look at in budgeting this year.
Yeah, we've got that as an agenda item coming up. We can get
Okay,
through this.
let's run through, I think those are all the blanks. Oh, no, page 7. Micro purchases, I thought that the 5,000 fits there as well. And it does say that if it's a federal project, you've got the Davis-Bacon requirement, it has to be below 2,000. But ours could still be 5,000. That way the micro purchase lines up with the incidental purchase. And simplified acquisition, small purchases, I put the 5,000 to 25,000 there. It lines up with our minor purchases. And large purchases are still above 25,000. So I feel like we don't contradict ourselves in this portion by matching those.
Sue, I was looking at something else here, but what are you saying should be the max limit on a micro purchase?
5,000. And that way it matches our incidental purchases from the previous section.
Just as an FYI, town of Danville has 4,000 for micro purchases.
Right, and VLCT said insert a dollar amount no greater than 10,000. So
Yeah.
it's up to us, but why wouldn't we take an opportunity to not confuse everybody and we have these numbers be the same in both sections?
Why have micro purchases at all as a category then?
Well, so
This is about when like grants are involved. This is separate from like Jim going to the hardware store. This is,
requirements.
yeah, this is when a grant is involved.
That's helpful. Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
I just had the match there.
I'm sorry, simplified acquisition, small purchases, what was your proposed?
Simplified acquisition would be 5,000 to 25,000 to match minor, and large purchases are still $25,000 and over. I picked the simplest language. When you had to pick language like public notice is required with, I picked sufficient time instead of no less than 2 weeks or at least 3 weeks. Everywhere there was an opportunity to pick a generic one that lets us have more flexibility, I picked the more flexible one.
Yeah.
And then procurement by sealed bid, purchases with an aggregate total value of 25,000 or more. Again, that was my number, 25,000, including any future contract amendments or change orders. I thought should be sealed bid. But if you guys want to go bigger on that one, I'm okay with that too. That's when do you require bidders to bring their sealed bids to the select board for opening.
You said 250K or 20?
No, I said 25,000,
Oh.
but if you guys think that could be bigger, I'm game to go bigger, but
Well, what would be the alternate process besides a sealed bid when you're soliciting bids? Just someone from the
just talking
select
to
board
someone
talking
over
to
the
people?
phone, I
Yeah.
don't know.
How many times do we need to do a bidding
I
process?
don't think there are that many bids over 25 grand.
Can you give me an example of what would be bid over 25,000?
Last year's crushing contract,
Yep, the gravel
paving.
crushing.
paving contracts, any kind of major, well,
Flooding, we must have had.
Madbrook,
Yeah,
Madbrook Road Bridge.
yeah. But I think 25,000 is an okay number. I mean, would we do seal? Would we not do seal bid for 25,000?
I'm just looking for a
That's
way
what's in
to,
the current,
I'm just looking for a way to not hamstring a process that doesn't need to be hamstrung with sealed bids.
Well, it kind of says that in the large purchase anyways. It kind of says we're gonna do the bid process anyways.
Well, it says a bid process, I don't know if it
A bid process.
specifies.
Oh,
sealed.
sealed bids. Okay, you're right. Let's see, major purchases.
What's your dollar value on major? Anything over 25?
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
Oh, so at the bottom, go on the top of page 4, which is the bottom of major purchases.
Yeah.
There's the insert at the bottom that says requires or does not require the use of a sealed bid process. I used requires the use of a sealed bid process under major purchases. And that way, all my stuff matched all my other stuff. My paperwork is
Tight.
matched.
That makes sense.
So do we wanna make revisions to it based on discussions tonight and
then
send it around to
vote on it
everybody
next
and
time?
send it to
I volunteer,
Heather to see?
I volunteer to make the revisions and
Yeah,
then run it by Heather and add
Were you
this paragraph
suggesting that-
somewhere.
this paragraph on
I would, yeah, I'd
fundraising.
like to see that in and
Me
have
too.
Heather commented on it.
Me too.
Oh, you got it.
I
Oh,
got it.
okay.
He gave us all one.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought.
I volunteer to make the revisions that I told you about and then pass it along to all of you and Heather for comment.
Yeah, great.
Okay?
Thanks, Sue.
All right. Remember you said remind you of homework at the end. That's my homework.
Okay.
Just to make sure we're good, anything else that requires time or dollar values? I'm just looking through quickly. No, I don't see it. It's that. Nope. All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Next up is budget. I talked with Heather on this in the past, I don't know how long, but in the past few years, there have been a member or members of the board not to exceed 2. So we don't, it's not an
It's not an
official
open
board.
meeting. Right.
Yeah, to work with Heather and the department heads to come up with proposed budgets, and then it all gets incorporated into one where the whole board approves it. I didn't participate last year. As I'm looking to participate, but I would be willing if unless there are 2 other, and I think last year there weren't the same 2 on each, but
There
I'm
was
not
only
sure.
me on the fire department one with Heather. I think it was just me and Heather on the fire department one.
Okay, is anybody interested in that?
So Sue, before we get into the Sue, you're saying that there was like one person of the board that did each, because the major ones are right, fire department, transfer
Right.
station, highway
I don't
department.
remember who met with the highway department, but I met with Heather with Colin of the fire department.
I'll volunteer to do highway department as road commissioner.
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
So, I know nothing about a town budget, but I'm willing to dig in with Colin if,
On the fire
You
department.
want
Yeah.
the fire department?
if folks feel they can entrust me with it.
Is, Clem, is the transfer station, is that budget, is that, I probably have it here, but is that wrapped into the
That's into the
town clerk?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's, okay,
Heather knows what to do. She knows my budget.
okay, all right. Okay. She said that she normally, in the past, she's held these either, depending on the board member involved and their schedule, either on, she said, early Wednesday afternoons or Wednesday evenings. I'm guessing Wednesday evenings is probably better for you two gentlemen.
Yes, Wednesday evenings are perfect.
That work for you, Tim?
I can make it work with good notice.
Okay. All right. All right, and
Ron, just,
Yeah.
I'm sure Heather knows this, but what kind of time and deadlines are we looking at here to get the budget in order? In other words, when should these department head meetings take place?
Soon,
I think they take place
Weeks?
in
A month?
October,
a couple of weeks.
don't you think, Marcel?
Yeah.
You start talking end of September, October, and then we hash it all out through November, and we're
Okay.
still making last minute decisions
In
early
December.
December.
And it has to be ready to go
It has
to
to be ready to go.
by the, kind of the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
I just gotta go to the printer.
Okay. All right.
So I'll reach out to Heather about maybe next week or the week after then.
Okay. Anything else on budget?
17.
Okay. Insurance. And it didn't say health, but that's really health. Health, dental, disability, what else is there? Vision?
Vision.
Liability, workers' comp.
That's through VLCT.
Yeah, we don't do workers' comp. I mean, it's a part of another package.
Vision. Disability. Okay. I had met with Colin Fucci, I don't know, I think it was back in June, and just sort of went over roughly, some thoughts he had. And I talked with him about that we had on tonight's budget, and he said he could have been here, but, he thought, at that time, back in June, he'd said it would be good to, that he could do a presentation to the board, to the people affected by any possible changes in insurance, to sort of, give us what could be done. But what he would really, before he does that, he said it would help. He'd like to know what the board's end goal is. Save on premiums by, I assume, a different insurance company, passing along premium costs to employees, increase the out-of-pocket exposure to employees, or anything else. But, he just would like to know, what is the board looking to do? I would assume that we're looking to save money, yet, and I understand when taxpayers get upset about, paying 100% of premiums, having a health savings account. But I also know if you suddenly change that to either gradually over a few years, or suddenly you all of a sudden went 80-20, then
unless you, as, I know I'm supposed to be looking at as a select board person, but as an employee, I would say you're asking me to take a pretty big cut in pay. When I was on the school board, we tried to incorporate we tried to get it gradually where the employees were paying more. But we sort of paid, gave the teachers a little bit more in pay to ease the pain a little bit in the transition. But I don't know, what are board members, any thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts are we have problems retaining workers now, and now we're talking about cutting benefits. And I'm just not sure that that's prudent in this time of us having a hard time keeping people.
Our goal broadly, in my opinion, should be to provide the same level of coverage for less cost to less or the same cost to the town that we would otherwise get. I don't think we can even afford to mess with 80/20s or anything. It should be 100%. That's what we've always offered. That's our big draw right now. In terms of a hiring package, I don't see a reason to mess with that because, great, you make it 80/20, you bump up pay, it's the same thing. Why?
Yeah.
Why, if something's not broke, I don't see a reason to fix it in a convoluted way.
I think it might be.
Well, the Green Mountain Care Board a couple weeks ago, came out and essentially gave Blue Cross Blue Shield a big smack around, and small group insurance is only going up 4.4%.
Is that all?
That's all. So I think we should be thanking our lucky stars and the Green Mountain Care Board for, putting their foot down. But I think this is going to turn to a bit of a non-issue.
Because that's not what I was told. I was told it was going to go up 18%.
This was relatively recent. This was within the last, I think it was August 25th was when the Digger reported on it. And yeah, small group is only going up 4.4% on Blue Cross Blue Shield. I can't remember what MVP's number. I think MVP might have been, yeah, I'm not even going to speculate. I can't remember what MVP was, but Blue Cross was only going up 4.4.
Okay. Other thoughts?
Well, just out of curiosity, it sounded like you were starting to raise another concern.
Well, no, I was just, I understand I understand it doesn't look good to taxpayers, which we're all taxpayers too, because not many places get 100%. And so it doesn't look very good, but I also understand the other problems that we're facing, retaining help. So I don't know and I think maybe that's a little bit what Will was saying, but if they are in fact only going up 4.4%, maybe we're still better off with Blue Cross Blue Shield, but I was thinking, possibly changing to MVP or something else. If somebody else could provide the same coverage for less money,
Yeah,
why not do it?
that should go out to bid before you have to sit and make a budget, because then you'd have figures to look at whether Cigna, MVP, or Blue Cross gives you the same thing at a cheaper rate. Then you could choose the other one at a cheaper rate, but still give the same service.
Other thoughts?
How long does it take to bid? Small group insurance coverage.
You won't bid, you'll have to have someone like Colin Fucci shop it for you. You won't bid insurance, so.
And I think we just answered your goal question for Colin when you talked to him next, is that we're looking for the same coverage for less money. Is that possible? Like shopping that?
Just for my own edification, why does Colin Fucci shop this around instead
Well,
of?
you could hire somebody else.
You can hire anybody you want.
You can hire anybody you want who's insurance. Colin just does insurance and he often.
Oh, this is his field. Okay, got it.
You could hire Mike Barrett. You could hire.
Yep.
There's no conflict of interest there where he's the fire guy?
His
He's not.
people don't have the health insurance.
It would only, that would
Only
only be
our
a conflict
full-time
if it
employees,
was,
and we only have a few.
Yeah,
it would only be a conflict if he was somehow providing insurance to his own trucks, presumably.
Right,
Yeah.
that, yeah, we asked health insurance, which he's not involved with. In fact, I think it's only the 3 road crew people that get the health insurance, is that correct, Marcel? There's only the 3
presently, yeah.
full-time? Because Deb is our other full-time, town employee, and she just.
So we're having, I mean, the treasurer, people who could get it would be the treasurer, town
No,
clerk.
she doesn't work enough hours a week.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, this is an election year. So if we hire somebody, if somebody were to run, Heather doesn't run, and somebody runs and works full-time, then they are subject to, we would be subject to paying health insurance for. So that has to go into the budget. Deb's chooses not to take it, but Deb could take it at any time.
Mhm.
How do the fire department, volunteers get insured while,
They have their own workman's comp policy.
okay,
Fire department doesn't go through VLCT, they have their own insurance policy.
okay, thanks.
so would you like Colin to come to give us a presentation? And if so, how soon?
Does he really need to give us a presentation or just?
Can you just email us the numbers?
We can.
To your question, I think this might be a really good exercise to go through, and I, as one person, think we should do it. Have Colin just present numbers by email attachment if he can. Of course, if he wants to come in personally, I'm happy to hear what he has to say.
I'm good with the email option, then maybe instead of a presentation, we could, ask him questions at the meeting if he'd be willing to come to that meeting.
Our next meeting?
Yes.
I just have one thing. Keeping in mind the health insurance costs, I just want everybody to be aware that in the first year that I was road foreman, I saved the town out of my budget $154,000. The second year, $100,000. This last year, I've saved the town $160,000, which is getting put onto our building. So just keep that in mind.
How did you save that?
I didn't spend it. I was budgeted for that and I didn't spend nearly that.
Yes, but why wasn't it spent? Last year, I would say it was people. Yeah, you don't have a full crew. We had devastating floods the last 2 years, so you weren't doing some of your normal work.
I've also lost, we had 4 men, now we're 3, and sometimes 2. So we cut 1 man completely. So there's less expense there as well.
Okay. All right.
My insurance also changed. Less money than what it was before.
It will be in November.
Oh, because of you going from family to 2. Yep. Okay. No, it's all, I understand cutting people's health insurance is not a.
Well, it's, the way that we look at it is it's part of our pay package.
Yep. Yep, it is.
We don't, around here, we don't get a raise. So that being the case, the insurance is pretty important. And it's not above and beyond, it's part of our pay package. We take less money so we can get
Yeah, that's why I was saying, how do you cut your, but if we can get it cheaper.
You can get the same coverage.
Same coverage cheaper, then why not? But I understand, asking you to go from paying 0, pay, insurance premiums to 20% of it without adequate, without increasing your pay.
Right.
I understand it would be a severe cut. Okay, so I'll ask Colin to email us some numbers, and if he could appear at the next meeting to answer questions, that would be good. Anything else?
I think that wraps that up. I think that's a good plan.
Okay. There's zoning update. I don't see the zoning administrator, so.
Push it to October.
Table.
Okay. Road commissioner report. Do you have anything, Will?
No, I don't have much of anything.
Okay. I just trying to bring people up to date on the, well, and Jim and Will are certainly know about this, but the state of Vermont did do some work on the I-93 over Madbrook Road today. I believe, and Jim, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they excavated the slope and put stone fill in. I don't know if they put any fabric under it, but they're trying to stabilize the slope with stone fill. Do you think that's
Carol Matthews did the work for me.
okay?
So reputable contractor, knows what he's doing. Logan seemed to think that there was a low spot in there, that's why it was all channeled into that one area and it sloughed off, so they were taking steps to correct that issue. And hopefully we don't have that ice build up over that overpass again. So.
Yep, we'll get the test this winter.
Yes, it will.
Now, when he said he thought that's where the low spot was, I mean, there's still gonna be a low spot there, isn't there?
Well, I don't know if they shaved the shoulder back further in order to get it to sheet off.
To try to
Exactly.
get it to exit somewhere else.
Flow, to get it to sheet instead of having it all congregate in one spot.
Yep, okay. All right, so, hopefully that, solves the problem. I've been in contact, with, McDonald and Nate Seacard of Ruggles Engineering. The Madbrook Road Bridge replacement was in a little bit of danger of not getting built this year, but now it looks like it's going to, because the stream, they had to have in-stream work done by October 1st, according to the permit. But in the precast structure isn't scheduled for delivery until October 6th or 7th, so we couldn't do that. But the state has given the contractor to October 17th to get the in-stream work done. So the contractor sent me a tentative schedule today, and I should have forwarded it, but I'll forward it to Jim and the rest of the board, but in the town clerk's office. But they hope to start mobilizing the week of September 22nd and start work later that week. And so they're ready for the precast sections when they arrive, and they'll go, it looks like they go a little bit beyond the 17th, but not on the in-stream work, just paving and guardrail. And they can close the road for 21 days, I believe, Jim?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so it looks like that's gonna happen, which is good. The town garage renovation project, I sent a advertisement to the board, I think.
Mhm.
Did that look okay, or are we good to?
I think so.
Okay. All right, so should we put it, advertise it similar to what we did with the highway position in so many days in the Caledonian?
Better the last time, I would think.
Yeah, that's where we
Yeah.
advertised for the road, the crushing and the paving last year.
Mm.
Okay. Something else that, I've been approached about for the last, ever since I've been on the board. And I've talked to Jim about this before, but it's, the Friends of Moore Dam Reservoir, I think is what they're called, feel that, there should be, well, I think, Jim, you installed the stop sign, right? But they feel there should be speed limit signs on that. It's a fairly short section of road. I don't know how long it is, but half a mile or less. But, and there was some question whether it has to be signed. I tried talking with Logan Perrin, the project manager in District 7. He put me in touch with a gentleman that he said is their expert. His name is Ian DeGudis. And he said that it, according to the MUTCD, Manual Uniform Traffic Control Devices, it doesn't absolutely require it when you come to an intersection. The state or the municipality can use their judgment on whether it's needed. That particular road, there is I believe there's a speed limit sign once you leave 18 on Riverside Cemetery Road. And there's a speed limit sign if you're going, whatever, south, on Old County Road South, once you pass Shadow Lake Road. But there are no signs on this section that, I don't know how many are familiar with the road, but there's no signs, no speed limit signs on that. I asked him, I said, well, okay, let's say, just take the example of maybe a more heavily traveled road, like say Shadow Lake Road in Old County South. If you were coming up, came off 18 on the Shadow Lake Road, you go through the intersection, do you need another speed limit sign? Well, maybe you don't if you drove on Shadow Lake Road, but I said, if you came off Old County Road South and turned onto it either way, how do you know what the speed limit sign is if you don't sign it? I don't know. I just think we ought to, and I think there are other places in town. I think maybe Gary and
Warner. Going all over town. They had that exact conversation with the previous board, and the board said at that point in time that they didn't feel any need to put any speed limit signs coming out of there, because the only way you could get there was on a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign. So if you go by speed limit signs to get to the end of the road, you turn around and come back, you're still traveling the same road. So it's 35 miles an hour.
I can
That's what they came up with.
I can understand that once you get there and they're coming back, but once you turn onto there, how do you know what the speed limit is?
That's still a continuous road. That's still County South.
That's Old County South?
That goes all the way down through there.
Okay, then if you're on Riverside Cemetery Road.
Yeah.
And you turn onto it, you're on a different road.
People don't know that though.
Frankly, I think they ought to all be signed, but Jim told me
if you want a budget for it, we'll do it.
It's like $300 sign and post.
Yeah.
Wow.
So So, I mean, that's up to you guys.
That ain't gonna amount to anything.
You want us to put signs up all over town, we'll do it, we just got a budget for it, it's expensive, quite expensive. And our time with only two of us, you know, we've got pressing things that I feel are more important, but.
Well, that's why I certainly put them off last year because I said,
Yeah.
they've got enough to deal with the flooding.
Right.
I just told them that I'd bring it to the board.
Yeah.
And I feel they all ought to be signed, but I also realize it's a lot of money, but.
If we had to prioritize one direction, right, on Old County South, probably the direction going away from the dam, because think about the practicality, people are gonna be at the dam having a great time, and it's like, okay, let's go home, all right, well, mom and dad want to get home as quick as possible, or whoever wants to get home as quick as possible, they fly out of there. Oh, there's a speed limit sign. So I feel like you'd be more likely to have people speeding coming away from the dam than going to it, but if you really had to, you know, say, hey, we want signage, but we gotta, you know, pick and choose our spots, I feel like that's a definite spot.
Do we have any speed limit 35 signs?
I believe so.
Okay. And posts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave Morrison, people that speed on a road like that aren't gonna pay any attention to us, sorry.
No, true, but they can't claim that, you know, oh, the sign wasn't there if the sign's there.
If it's not signed, it's 50 miles an hour.
I have a couple questions to, Dave Morrison. Are we already accumulating sand, Jim? Look like the pile's growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other point, that on the highway, Marcel identified I don't know if this is an occasional or frequent problem with maxing out the account at Snell's. Wouldn't it be somebody's job just to increase your allowable monthly expenditure so that and they know the town of Waterford is gonna pay the bill, so why is there a cap?
Because it's tied to a credit card that has a limit.
Would it be somebody's job to, I'm not a business person, but would it be somebody's job, like a road commissioner or the treasurer, Heather, to see about increasing that limit so it never becomes a problem again?
It would be a thing with the credit card company specific. They're usually, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Marcel, a credit card company's not gonna budge on its limit.
Yeah, they might, but very rarely does it happen, but it happens. If they have a lot of breakdowns, especially in the winter time, it happens once in a while, we bring them a check and they're able to get their part, so.
So now you're working off a credit card rather than just saying the town of Waterford has a charge account.
Yeah, it's a charge account, but it's not an open account where you can just charge with no limit. It's tied to a credit card, is what I understand.
Okay, I'm not a businessman, thank you.
Okay. Back to the speed limit signs.
If Jim has one and he has the time, maybe where Will suggested. Driving out of there, or did you have a different place to put it?
I'm saying that having no idea what is actually out there. Are we saying there are 0 signs whatsoever in Old County South? In that section between Shadow Lake and Riverside Cemetery? Right, from Keith Powers' place.
From Keith Powers' place, I believe there is a speed limit sign on Old County once you go through the Shadow Lake intersection, isn't there, Jim?
Unless it's
And towards the river.
Yeah, so there is one there. I assume there's one coming off Riverside, turn off 18 on Riverside Cemetery. So where there isn't one is where you turn to go down. If it's part of Old County South, then whatever, it just.
But do you want a speed limit sign coming out of there or going in?
Well, I'd like both.
I think it should be.
And then you also have to kind of figure in too, people that are coming off of the power line. People that come off the power line and turn onto that road, should you have a speed limit sign there as well? So that those people know when they come on?
No, because that's not a road. I realize they.
Travel.
Yep.
True.
Because that was one of Jen Smith's big complaints. was, trying to incorporate, this was in past times, that there's a terrific amount of traffic that comes off from the power line coming from the Concord side, and that's that's what started, basically, if I remember right, started this, was, she wanted signs put in place so that people coming out from there knew what the speed limit was as well.
Okay.
We have the signs, we should probably put them up, and I don't mean to create another topic, but there's nobody to enforce it, so what's the sign gonna do? Except warn somebody that you shouldn't speed.
Yeah, good point. I mean,
I agree.
we have, I think we get, what did we get last month, 6 hours or 8 hours or something? Okay. So what did you say, Wayne?
I just think if we have them, Jim said that we had them, they're sitting there, right, Jim?
Yeah, you're right.
We might as well use them, right, and put them. I think our rule of thumb used to be if there's an intersecting road, one goes, or say even a T, one goes to the right, one goes to the left, opposite directions, they can see it either way turning on. So that's what I would recommend.
Okay. The other view, aside from enforcement issue, is simply that if there's a speed limit sign, the driving public is on notice that the town considers this a road that ought to have this speed limit, and it therefore may relieve the town of some liability if somebody has a speeding accident and thinks the town was negligent not posting a speed limit.
Okay.
So,
I guess,
just so we can be clear on that, you want us, we already technically, I believe, we have a speed limit sign coming onto County South from Shadow Lake Road. So that is all part of that goes down to the access. So that being the case, technically, we should put one at the corner going on the cemetery right there. And we should put one coming out of the boat launch, coming back. Even though they didn't come from anywhere else, they're just returning back on the same road that they came on, but we'll put a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit on the return back from the Moore Reservoir. And then we should put one, when you come around the corner on the cemetery road or go to the boat launch, right there should have one. Because technically, like you guys are saying, you're coming from County South and you're turning on to Cemetery Road, even though you're just going around the corner.
so there's none of those are there right now.
The only thing that you've got is from Shadow Lake Road, turning on to County South, to head to the boat launch, there's a speed limit sign. Cemetery Road coming off 18, there's a speed limit sign. And then that's it. So all
That's it.
roads lead to the boat launch.
Mhm.
So they're traveling on a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit road in order to get to the boat launch. So when they turn around to leave, they're still traveling technically on a 35-mile-an-hour road, but do you want a sign, so when they're coming out of there, to refresh their memory, that it is a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign in place?
Yes.
Yes.
And do you want it down by the boat launch, or do you want it by the power line? To catch any traffic coming off from the power line as well.
Would that catch
How
both?
far is it, the distance from the river to the power line?
It's probably, what, maybe 500 yards, something like that?
Pretty close. Yeah. So what would be the difference from having it down near the river to right there?
Well, if you
far
catch,
as
if you got a bunch
that road.
of, if you got a bunch of traffic coming off from the power line turning up,
Right,
instead of going down, you're gonna catch them right there, they'll see it.
right,
And anybody coming up, they'll see it.
right,
But it might be better placed right there.
right.
Dip, it's mostly ATVs on that. Oh, they come down there and then they get.
I would
like a
put it
field
down
trip.
by the boat launch.
Sounds like a field trip.
Yeah.
You could do that really short.
I would put it on the boat launch.
So.
Yeah, I don't think we're-
there. And that's
We're not putting,
Let's not encourage them
So
to use
if you
that.
follow.
I'm like, oh, they
this is
go.
the
Well,
launch here,
they're gonna
so if
use
you're
it,
dragging
but
follow it up, we'll show you.
it's mainly,
So the power trail goes up.
I don't think of that as being.
It's faint line here. Yeah, it's like
Boat
a
launch,
single
yeah.
track. And up here, this is Concord, this is.
Okay,
That
anything
road,
else?
this is turned over here, and this is the road actually goes under the power line. Goes into this class.
Oh.
That's just ATV. No.
Yeah, no, I got one
I
other thing.
used to run
Uh,
Why don't you go with Jimmy someday and tell him where you want him, and then everybody be the same?
Sounds like a road
Do
commissioner
that.
job.
It,
Go with Jimmy to
it's
say where the.
coming from the, I can, but I'm just saying that we shouldn't concern ourselves. I don't think, I'm not speaking for the board, I don't think we ought to concern ourselves with traffic, ATVs coming off the power line. So you put it down by the,
But is that the reason the damn people asked you for a speed limit sign because of that intersection right there?
they didn't ask me that, no. They may have a couple of years ago or asked Jim.
Under town policy, are ATVs allowed on that road?
No.
Nope.
So I don't think we're,
Waterford now.
yeah, we uncorked that genie.
Cause they want them.
All right, the other thing I had under road commissioner's report, I just had a question, about the decal for the town truck.
There's an appointment that's already been made.
Okay, when is that?
It's the 23rd.
Of September?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Front plate's on there as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, performance appraisals. I should have sent them long before I did. I didn't send them until today. I sent copies of last year's evaluation forms. I think it'd be good to review them and suggest any revisions that you feel are needed. When we were doing them, last year was the first year we did them, and we had quite a few categories, probably more so on Jim's and on Clem's, but where we said not applicable. I don't know, just kind of look it over to see if there's things that but that should be changed. The only thing I did to them is I just, the wording of, at the top, and I was trying to remember back to when I worked for the state, but I don't know, maybe not all agencies use the same form.
I'm sure we still do.
But I just, that's what I remembered from what the state was, and I kind of liked them a little better.
I think we can do better than last year's. Last year's was just the job description, and we put a blank in front of it, and under each item of the job description. I think we can do better this time.
Okay.
I can work on that. That can be my homework.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, the only other thing I added was like an overall evaluation at the end, because last year we just had numbers and they weren't intended to be average because not all categories are the same. Clem?
Could I make it just a suggestion that each one of you select board members come to the transfer station and spend a day, a morning, to find out exactly what goes on before you give the performance review?
You can suggest it, yes. Yep. I don't know, I'm not gonna promise everybody will do that. I'm not promising I'll do that. I go to the transfer station.
Or I don't think it's fair to give a review with what you don't really know what happens. Never
Well,
been there.
I've been there. But I didn't even do an evaluation last year. Just because of the conflict of interest thing that we talked about.
We talked about it.
Yep.
But now that we've taken the training, you realize that Clem isn't someone whose livelihood has any effect on you at all.
Yeah, the only thing would be is if it's not just conflict of an interest, but an appearance of, which I don't think it would appear that there would be.
I don't think so either.
And so I think we should, you offer to revise the form, send it to us.
I could take a look at it and see what I can do and then send it out and ask for your comments and help on making it better. I acknowledge it needs to be better than it was last year.
Okay. Anything else on that? Yeah, because it'd be good to get them revised, filled out, discussed before the budget process is finalized, because it can affect wages. Okay.
Gentleman's got a point. If you're gonna evaluate somebody, you should probably see what they do, how they do it. And
Well,
Talk to people, come in.
I don't think Jim wants each select board member to ride with him for a day.
Fine with me.
Okay.
Good freezing rainstorm.
Well, no, we gotta get it done this fall. We want a good fall foliage.
There you go.
Actually, it'd be really educational to ride with, not that I really want to do it, but to ride with you when you're plowing.
There you go.
I don't envy that job.
You ready to get up at 2 a.m. for him?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Careful what you wish for, Ron.
I said I was willing, I didn't say I would. Okay, next up is agenda items for next meeting. Do we need a working meeting on September 22nd? Well, it's probably too early for the road position. Applications are due September 19th. But
What's the date of our working meeting? The
22nd.
22nd, so we'd have.
September 19th is a Friday, 22nd is the Monday.
So then we should meet on the 22nd just to select road crew, right?
What have we gotten for applicants so far?
None.
And we're gonna have Jim narrow them down for us, but then we're gonna have Jim and the select board interviews, right?
Fine.
Yeah, but he's not gonna have time to narrow them down.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Well, if we get some in early, I assume Deb lets you know if she gets them in early, so you could get them to come in.
I think we're
extend the
Worst case
deadline.
scenario, you might have to try and get a special meeting.
It closes the 19th,
Closes the 19th.
That's a Friday.
only one week.
It's a week from tomorrow.
so
Yeah, that doesn't seem long enough.
Well,
We already put it out.
I sent the thing asking
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
What
input.
was the first day of the ad running?
earlier this week, right?
We decided,
make it sound this week.
no, it was, I don't know.
It's in your email to us.
Why don't we extend it, we could extend it another week to the 26th?
I have no problem with that. In my opinion, it doesn't matter when we have a special meeting.
Right. It's gonna depend on when the people that Jim narrows it down to are available to be interviewed, because our special meeting
Yeah.
isn't gonna be a meeting with the public, it's gonna be an interview.
Okay,
So it's gonna be a special meeting no matter what.
but when you said extending it to the 26th, are you saying the application deadline, or were you talking?
The application deadline.
Just another.
So I can
One more
contact,
week.
I can't contact Deb till Monday. I'll contact,
You might be able to call the Caledonia Record and ask for a
Yeah.
date change in our ad.
yeah, I could do
Put it
that.
on Facebook as well and stuff,
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
on all the avenues that we looked at last time.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, it's on
Will do.
VLCT. I haven't seen it come up on V-Trans, but that one takes a while. Usually takes about a week for them to actually process that and put it up, but it's on VLCT.
and it's on the town's
Okay.
It's
Facebook.
on the town's Facebook as well.
That got a lot of interest last time, from the Facebook thing.
Okay. Yes,
Dave Morrison, are you willing to entertain the comments and discussion about this hiring process, or?
you can offer any,
Well, what Jim is looking for us, in basically all the position is not some guy off the street. The grader is very specialized, but a truck driver that runs his own loader, which I think that's their situation, is a fair amount of skill. And to plow with a wing is very skilled. And it would appear what you need to do is be hiring somebody away from another town or a construction company that's very qualified in all these areas that Jim needs. And frequently, not necessarily in construction or town business, but people are offering basically a sign-on bonus to steal somebody from somebody else. And I think that's what I don't know where we are on the pay scales compared to adjoining towns, but, and I don't know where Sean and Wade went to when they left us, the first Sean. But I think if we're gonna get what Jim really needs, we've gotta be aggressive. And that's shaped like a dollar sign. Thank you.
Thanks for your input. I mean, we got, I don't know, 7 applicants last time. Now, I'm not saying, you know, Jim did a screening on them to give them a little, show and tell or whatever in the yard. So he weeded some out that were, you know, off the street, as you say. I don't know about the rest of the board, but I'm not interested in offering sign-on bonuses on behalf of the town, but.
With a sign-on bonus in today's day and age, you have a better shot at getting somebody you can train than you will with someone who already has experience.
I agree. I'm in a situation right now where I'm trying to hire in my business life, a very highly specialized position. And I'm in a similar boat where I can't afford to have someone who's necessarily green, like completely new off the street, as Dave said. So I had to substantially up my pay in order to compete and try and poach someone. So maybe the plan of action then isn't to extend the deadline, it's to let it lapse on the 19th. And if we get no hits, we then circle the wagons and, you know, throw down a little bit more of a package, see what happens.
Well, we put the starting pay, but we also said that
By
pay,
experience.
yeah, you know, we could offer more if they're experienced. I kind of think that does that, but maybe the rest of the board is thinking sign-on bonuses, and although that doesn't seem.
My history is they don't work.
No, unless you have an agreement that they stay for a certain period of
Oh,
time.
for sure.
You've got employees just jumping from signing bonus to
Yeah,
signing
exactly.
bonus.
The other problem is if you up the package, then what are you gonna do for Jim and the guys that are already there?
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to treat
Everybody.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you got somebody from another town, not that we're trying to poach from another town, but if they wanna come and they're experienced, yeah, you could offer them more money.
You get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
That's a fact.
Exactly.
You know, if we're talking about sweetening packages for town employees, I'm just wondering and sort of preparing for the fact that we might be looking at some sort of a town budget increase that's gonna impact the taxpayers. And I'm not opposed to the idea as long as it creates actual good value and produces stable employment. And just sort of preparing the ground and putting it on the record, we may be talking about that.
So what do you want done? Do you wanna let it end on the 19th and redo it, or do you wanna extend it?
I wanna extend it.
Okay. Hang on a second. Jim, the weather's pretty nice right now. What do you foresee needs coming up in the reasonable September, October weather. Can you get by with 2 for the near future?
We are getting by, so we got winter sand to finish hauling.
Say again, you can get by or no?
We are getting by. I don't prefer to have it like this. I just soon get the spot filled as quick as possible because of the simple fact that we know winter's coming.
That's a
And if
fact.
you find somebody, they've gotta have some seat time in that truck before winter comes. They gotta get familiarized with the truck. They gotta get familiarized with the roof. That doesn't happen just overnight. So the quicker we try and fill that spot, the better off we are.
For my edification, the scenario you just painted was hiring somebody green or with some experience?
I would, of course, prefer somebody with some experience.
Well, of course.
The more experience, the better. Finding somebody with that skill level, that's gonna be the challenge.
Wait, Ron, so I agree with Sue. However, can we reassess that on the 19th? Like, what if we get 10 applicants this week? It's fine like that. Usually weekends, that's when you see people apply, what I've seen, weekends. So on the 19th, let's look at it and see what we've got, and then we could reassess.
Because we have to do more ads with the Caledonia anyways, like another week of ads or something.
Okay, so just leave it at
So
the
leave it the way
19th?
it is. And if we don't have applicants or enough applicants, then we do another week of advertising. Could do that.
Yes,
On
Sean?
these open positions, what happens to the money that's not spent? So there would be a surplus in his budget because he had open positions. What happens to that surplus money?
Goes back to the taxpayer.
Goes back to taxpayer.
Except for last year's money, the taxpayers voted to put it towards the repairs of the garage.
Gotcha. Because I was gonna say, I've never seen a decrease in my taxes from surplus money back.
That ain't gonna happen. And
Yes,
Dave Morrison, what Jim did say that he said to recite to me, and I knew it, is that if we get some rain, he's gonna be flat out doing what he would want to be doing right now. He's not grading, and if people are bitching about it because of the chloride water rain situation. If we could get some rain, his time, whether we need more speed limit signs or not, he's gonna be flat out trying to get the road graded and back in shape for winter.
Yeah.
Which ain't too far away.
Yeah.
So,
Time.
yeah, we're at the mercy of Mother Nature here. He's at the mercy of Mother Nature.
And if I could, just off the subject, kind of going along with what Dave was saying, could I get you, Will, to put something on the our Facebook page stating that, the roads are coming apart due to the dry weather conditions that we have been experiencing. We need the moisture back in the roads. We need the rain in order to get the roads back in shape. We're well aware that they're getting rough, but there's nothing really we can do with them the way that they are now because we don't have chloride enough. And chloride won't work effectively because there's no moisture in the ground to hold and retain the roads to keep them in shape. So if we do attempt to do anything, we're just doing minimal work right now on the roughest ones. We're prioritizing them. We're trying to just get by until we do get some better weather for grading. But they are rough. We're well aware of it, and I apologize for the condition of the roads. Under Mother Nature, the way it is, there's nothing we can do.
That sounds like a good idea. I'll tell you what, I'll get back to you on that in the coming days. I'm gonna, because kind of like people were saying earlier in the meeting, go around to other roads and other towns, they're all seeing the same thing.
We're all in the same boat.
Yeah, like up near where I work in Derby and Brownington, it's a similar issue. So.
Ron, circling back to your question about agendas, it sounds like we are putting a special work meeting on the 22nd on hold temporarily.
We're not gonna, we don't need to. We're gonna call a special meeting
When we need it.
when we have
Fair enough.
interviewees.
Okay.
So for the next October meeting,
Colin Fucci insurance presentation. Finish up purchasing policy, hopefully.
sign the personnel policy. I've gotta redo Ron's fixes so that the pages come out right, but we actually approved the personnel policy on July 28th, so we're going to date the policy. We'll sign it at our next October meeting, but it will be July 28th that we agreed that was the changes that we were gonna make.
Okay.
But that will be in front of us at the October meeting.
And then Will's feedback from our town attorney regarding Tim Doyen project.
Yes.
I was hoping we might, probably it's too hopeful to have the performance evaluate, because we've got the, I was gonna say we might need an executive session to discuss those. I don't know if that's too soon, but.
Maybe on the agenda, we can schedule performance reviews with our employees. Schedule them. Before the next meeting in October, I should have been able to work on the performance appraisal forms, get all of your feedback, and we should be ready to go. So at the October meeting, we could talk about the scheduling of the.
Okay. You
Maybe
just talked
executive-
about the scheduling, not schedule when to be done.
Or have an executive session where we call employees in to be appraised. We're getting to the point where we need to do that soon.
Well, that doesn't give us a chance unless we did it at the special meeting.
Oh.
We need
for
to
the board
discuss-
meet. So we need an executive session in the October meeting to talk about performance appraisals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we need. Okay. Then we need to schedule meetings with the employees.
I'd like to, put on their executive session myself.
In
Schedule an
October.
Executive session, personnel.
Okay. Is this in reference, I don't want to talk about it, but is this in the reference to the letter you sent?
Oh, lots of things. There's a number of different.
Okay, all right. Well, okay.
Is this the time to make a motion?
No, hang on, I think there's one other item for the agenda. What were we gonna be working on? Is it the budget discussions or?
Was it the insurance presentation?
No, we got that. I think it was the budget discussions.
No, you guys are gonna schedule those for Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but information's gonna be coming back to the board in a month, I presume.
I don't,
Usually Heather schedules with us to do it.
Is that how she handles it?
Yeah. I think so.
She does an initial presentation. After you guys have met with department heads, she puts an initial budget together, meets with us to go through it line item by
That's the
line.
process then, okay?
I'm not sure it will happen that quickly.
It might be a second meeting in October that happens for the first time.
Okay,
Good night, folks.
Can I
anything else?
make a motion to enter executive session?
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I said.
8:17, Hannah.
Good to see you all. Good night, folks.
Thank you. It was at work and people.
Thanks, Dave.
Wouldn't you right now for start with?
Hannah, did you do the August 11th meetings? Oh, then I did read those, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I thought the last two meeting minutes. were-
you.
No, 11th was just the.
I did see that. I'm sorry. I saw those two dates and went, I haven't seen them. I see it. You did, so you did it, I reviewed it, and I do agree that those are correct. All right, we'll do them next.
Yeah, I've got a few,
No worries.
I got a few changes.
Oh, okay, well, good then.
I think I missed an agenda item now.
Well, no, not quite yet.
Oh.
we came in late.
It was insurance, personnel, and the Doyon project were the three big ones.
I do, and I have no cash with me. I came home, so you
First-
hit me up.
Procurement policy.
Wait, what was that policy?
Finalize purchase of policy.
That was the
Oh,
one.
it's called
And the
procurement
street,
on the title.
And then you're
Finalize
gonna pick it up on, when you come back?
Yes.
Well, VLCT calls it procurement now instead of purchasing. Our old one is called purchasing.
Yes.
I didn't write it, I just edited it.
You have to